You know, generative AI or artificial generative intelligence or generative artificial intelligence, however you hear it, ChatGPT, AI, whatever you hear, there are a couple of things you might want to know. Generative AI, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Copilot, it can elevate what you do. Like it can really amplify, elevate, lift the work that you're doing in a creative way. It can clarify, it can help communicate with you. I know sometimes I think that it's going to take over the world. It's going to stop us from thinking. Okay. I do agree that we probably are in, our phones or on our phones or on a system. I have a couple of screens here. Too much. I do. Like we should take these things, put them down for a while and put them in a whole nother room so that we can have conversations with people and maybe just think, process, read a tangible book, maybe not on the iPad, which I am an advocate for too, because we want to engage in connection with humans. I still do want to talk about how it can elevate what we're doing. So, what can ChatGPT do to elevate our work in whatever industry you're in? Now, I am in education, so I'm going to use a few prompts to show you how it could elevate what you're doing and some basic prompts. Because if you haven't used it before and you're thinking, oh, this too shall pass, we know that Google didn't pass because in 1995 hit the world by storm as well. And we're still asking Dr. Google how to diagnose whatever it is we have. So I'm going to go back into ChatGPT, but I really want to be clear. Also believe, opinion, that if we don't use it to elevate what we're doing in whatever industry you're in, I think it might displace not just work, but possibly people. But if you get really good at what is happening with generative AI and how it can elevate your work, I believe that it will help you keep yourself very focused, very in your position, increase your work, whatever that is, make you smarter, make you more intelligent. Or maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe it can enhance your creativity. So I want you to think about it from that perspective. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't, think about not being online for a while. I am saying that we should still learn it. So let me show you a few prompts on how it can elevate what you're doing, and you can decide whatever those prompts are and be creative in your business or in your educational realm, teacher, principal, whatever that is. Don't forget, December 7th at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Central time, I am doing a webinar on how you can make ChatGPT a buddy or partner in your business, your educational realm, your classroom, whatever that is. So click on the link here or go to the QR code or go to the description. This is a simple prompt. This prompt says, summarize the concept of collective teacher efficacy in education and explain why it has the highest effect size for improving student outcomes in no more than 3 sentences. I did that because I didn't want it to do like a waterfall of information. And you can tell ChatGPT to do that to help it slow down. So let's see what happens. Collective teacher efficacy is the shared belief among educators in their ability to positively impact student learning and outcomes through their collective efforts. Talking to each other, sharing information. How did you do that? Why did that work for you? That didn't work for me. I wonder why. Why are students doing well on that standard? Things like that. It has the highest effect size for improving student outcomes because it fosters a culture of collaboration, trust, continuous improvement, enabling teachers to address challenges effectively and implement impactful instructional strategies. This unified focus on student success leads to increased engagement, higher education, and better academic results. You could say share articles. I want you to see that it now is attached to the web, and we can actually search the web and it'll come up. So let's see, share articles, only a few, include the effect size as well. You might want to know what that effect size is. So collective teacher efficacy, CTE, refers to educators' shared belief in the collective ability to positively influence teacher outcomes. Now, there are a few articles about the impact of the effect size. It says 1.57 is the effect size. You might see some areas where it says about 1.37 because that they're taking the average of three research analysis that happened. So just know that this could be slightly changed based on how you research it. And if you're like, well, I don't even know what that means, it actually tells you. It's a meta-analysis here by Rachel Els. ELs found a strong positive relationship between collective teacher efficacy. Sometimes you might see that as career technical education, but this time it's collective teacher efficacy and student achievement, and with a weighted average effect size of 0.617, which translates to Cohen's d to approximately 1.57. You can look up the how it looks at the average of at least two means. So you can just look up what that actually means for the analysis. And then it gives you the actual, you can click on any of these links. So this is pretty good. So I'm pretty impressed with what this looks like. Here's another quick prompt. Suggest 3 steps a middle school math teacher can take to help students improve their understanding of fractions. Include the umbrella model for the mathematical practices and avenues of thinking in no more than 3 sentences. I would almost argue that I'm wondering what fractions they're thinking about for middle school, but maybe that's 6th grade and maybe it's multiplying fractions, for example. So this is what it gives you. It gives you a middle school math teacher can help students improve their understanding of fractions by starting with Standard for Mathematical Practice 1. Next, they can guide students with standards for Mathematical 7, Mathematical Practice 7, looking for patterns and structures. I really like that, such as equivalent forms to deepen their conceptual insights. Finally, the teacher can incorporate SMP4 by having students model real world situations. You can even say, maybe you can give talking points and questions for students to discuss the fractions. You can probably even put whatever the standard is right in there. And here are a few questions. Let's discuss why 1/2 is the same as 2/4 or 3/6. Again, I feel like this is probably more elementary, even though it said middle school. And I would say, is this actually a middle school standard in California? Seems like 4th or 5th grade. Just a guess. There are fractions in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but it's usually a mixed fractions, multiplication, things like that. And it even told me you are correct that the concepts of fraction equivalence and comparisons are introduced in earlier grades. Even in third, that's right, it's 3rd grade, really, the introduction of it. So you could revamp that. You can find some sources and you can ask it to give you a comparison and go to the web. I went to Canvas here because I wanted to see if it would give me something different. But this did work. Now let's try another prompt. That first prompt summarized the concept. The second prompt actually gave you action steps. And this third prompt is a clarifying prompt. This one is specifically for principals, but again, you can create any prompt where you want it to clarify something. Like explain how principals can use raw assessment data, such as student scores or scale scores, to guide instructional decisions and support teacher collaboration in no more than 3 sentences. And again, you can add, you can push it a little bit, you can grab some public data, throw it in there and have those conversations. And now I would say use the California SBA ELA data as the raw data. And while it's thinking about that, I actually could go to the California assessment results. It's probably going to want to, it gives it to me here. So I'm going to go. Now I did that pretty quickly, but just so you know, when I search here on the URL, it immediately searches for me in ChatGPT now. As long as I'm logged into ChatGPT, it will go automatically to in the search bar here. Instead of being in the search bar for Google, this is what it does for me now. So this is something that I'm really impressed with. So it did this for me. the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. It gives me like this overall data. What I was hoping for was going here because now it's going to give me scale scores since I said that. And one of the things that I can do is I can just copy this and I could throw it in here and add the attachment. You can upload the attachment. It'll probably be on my desktop and say, use this raw scale score data. What PD could we create as a principal with leading questions? And even though that had a space there, probably didn't matter. But these are things you can do really quickly, like quick prompts. This time it's probably going to give me a waterfall of information because I didn't say less than 3 sentences, but it did, like understanding performance trends. It gives me a leading question and a possible activity. Like, this is nice. What patterns do you notice in the percentages of students meeting or exceeding standards across grades? Analyze trends in scale scores and performance levels to identify grade levels or areas in with significant changes. Identify areas for growth. Leading question: how might we address the needs of students who are nearly met to move them into met? Like, these are great questions. Conversations in student groups, because you can even change this if we're here and change it to a specific student group. So I hope that this is something that will help you when you're looking at prompts and wanting to challenge yourself as a teacher, whatever industry you're in, as a principal, to using ChatGPT to amplify, elevate what you're doing, and maybe even help you be really creative and not displace your work. Like, we now can do things faster. So let it, and you can learn with it. Because yes, you could have created all these questions. I'm confident that you could. However, you also could be out walking the campus, being in classrooms if you're a principal, being available at recess, and letting ChatGPT help you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please comment. Tell me how you're using generative artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever, to improve, elevate what you're doing, really creative, becoming creative in a way that helps you improve what you're doing, enhance your work so that you can be more available to do other things. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon in the next video.